Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the Soul of Excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
What did you think about that moment when the president was asking Democrats to stand up for American citizens during that part of the speech when he was talking about immigration and immigration enforcement efforts?
I think you can agree with the what, like standing up for American citizens, but I disagree with the how. And so it's always about how do we bring our country together, but not stand on the backs of others. There's thinly veiled racist language, anti-immigrant language in what he was asking, and that was uncomfortable.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you. They're crazy. Amazing. Incredible.
It was amazing, my friends, last night's State of the Union address. Oh, I've never seen a State of the Union address like that one. Incredible. And here to discuss it with me,
James Golden, America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
My friends, I didn't give you the name of the show. It's Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. Joining us, Her Nessness, the Highness, Her Royalness, the analystness that you've been waiting for. Oh, from last night's State of the Union-ness. And boy, it's something. Princess Diana in the house-ness. Good afternoon, Princess.
Well, hello, Sir James Ness. It is wonderful to talk about the amazing. I am still jazzed about that speech. It was a historic moment. You know, it's those things. I kind of had forgotten that Trump does a master class at these things, and so I was anticipating a policy speech like they have always been. And so, you know, I thought, well, I'll stay up as long as I can, and then I'll, you know, listen to it in the morning, the rest of it. And I was so excited. I was talking out loud in my house back to Trump and cheering. And I have to say, he put on, as I say, a master class for the ages. And he scripted not only what the Republicans cheered for, he totally scripted the fact that the Democrats did not stand and that they sat down. Now, he has talked about these things before. Isn't it a shame they don't stand up for these things that everyone in America should cheer for? And he has mentioned that and bemused it, and he used it. He used it against them. He set a trap. And, man, it hit slam shut last night, and they still don't know it. That is the best part of this. And I just want, and I'm sure everyone has talked about it and is aware, the 15 years, 15 words of the biggest political trap in American history that Donald Trump sprung on them. And, you probably have the soundbite, but I just wanted to make people pay attention to the 15 words that start the first duty.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you want those 15 words, if I'm thinking that they're the right 15 words, let us play the soundbite. Would you like that?
I would love that.
Okay, here we go.
To join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Now, Princess Di, this applause, just lower it. This applause, this whole soundbite lasts almost 2.5 minutes. And what you hear is the continuous applause. Meanwhile, Democrats are sitting, looking sullen, angry, anger out of you cannot believe. J.D. Vance also had a very funny reaction to this, but this was a moment that will live in whoever covers State of the Union addresses, as you say, this was the biggest political trap ever at a State of the Union message, and it will be remembered.
Yes, and as they were sitting, Donald Trump stood at the front of the room. He swept his arm out toward the sitting Democrats. He shook his head. He pursed his lips. And he was then gesturing several times toward the sitting Democrats. He knew they would sit. They did sit. And he scripted a moment for advertisements all across the country who are going to run that for the midterms. And if they don't, they're being failures as politicians, but they will, because he will make sure of it. That was something that has never been done before, and I heard on CBS that he himself scripted that, where he basically says, if you agree, then stand up. None of the other things that are applause lines and a stand-up lines did he say that. No one has ever said that before. So he basically challenged them to be themselves, and they did themselves in. He led them where they wanted to go. They had to go due to their base, their anti-ICE agenda, their own ideology. They could not stand for that. And it was the binary choice between the purpose of the American government is to protect American citizens, or, that was the question, the binary choice, illegal aliens. And the Democrats have chosen, we know they have chosen, and they demonstrated it in under a minute. And it's one of those moments of clarity in history that is not going to be understood fully for quite a while, and the Democrats still have no idea.
And neither do some of the people in the press corps who are just looking at this as just, well, okay, he had a moment. They don't understand how deeply that affects people that see it. And then when you combine it with the stories that were brought out, these stories that some Democrats also sat through, stories of unbelievable heartbreak. And you know something that I noticed in it several times, the word blood was which you rarely hear in a State of the Union. When he described what these families have been through, the sexual assaults, the blood, it was graphic. And then when he said what he said was another one that they sat through was when he started talking about the repeat offenders that get out, that do these heinous acts, the illegal aliens that have done these heinous acts, and these families, some of the families were there that have suffered this. And when he had them stand up, Democrats sat down. It was unbelievable that these people could not even acknowledge the pain and suffering of American citizens at the hands of people who should have never been in the country, and yet they see it, they chose to sit, and today they're making excuses for it.
Yes, and the specific one that I think you're referencing is when Trump introduced and honored Irina Zarutsky's grieving parents, and her mother was sobbing.
Her mother's
so
crying.
She was sobbing, and then when he didn't get he I think expected the Democrats to stand, and he did say, "How do you not stand? How do you not stand? You have a tragedy like that. You're honoring the parents, the grieving parents." So that there was a lot of emotion in it, and he presented a heroic America and heroic Americans. That was the theme of it, and so he basically made this obvious picture for the country. You have the people who are supporting Trump and supporting America, who are celebrating these heroes, and they went from the hockey players to the World War II 100-year-old Navy pilot, the Top Gun of his day, to the more recent hero from the Maduro extraction, the Chinook helicopter pilot. All of those things are, Americans who give their all, and we need to celebrate.
Now, if you did not hear the section with the American hero that she is talking about, the helicopter pilot, again, this was one of the ones where Trump several times told the story. And we did not hear this story initially. We knew that there had been gunfire. But last night, he presented it was just the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest American award to two. But one of them, the pilot on the Maduro mission, had been shot in his legs. And Trump described the blood running down the aisle of the helicopter and he's still using his legs to land the helicopter, and then turns the helicopter away from fire so that he's protecting his troops. And when he stood up, he's standing up on using a walker because he cannot use his legs yet, but he is there. And he's stone-faced, just standing tall, proud, with almost no expression, as you would expect, as he is presented with the nation's highest military honor. And folks, it was moving and almost beyond words.
Yes,
the bravery.
Democrats refused to stand for him, and that, to me, is unforgivable.
Right, Democrats did not even stand for him. It is something that should never be forgotten. In fact, not only didn't Democrats stand for him, let me give you, there was a gaggle of about 5 of these Democrat women on the line, cut 6. And listen to the comments they have about heroes like this.
I was there, and it was as horrific as I thought it would be.
Did you leave early?
Absolutely.
It was like an award show. You get a medal. You get a medal. You get a medal. That's literally, Mo just said, you get a car, you get a car. Y'all are on the same page.
Do you hear this?
Unbelievable.
These are Democrats. They are laughing and mocking members of the military, including Korean War vet, 100 years old. Another one from World War II, 100 years old. And this is what Democrats respond. We have to go to a break, but I want to play that one more time. This is how the Democrats respond to your American heroes.
I was there, and it was as horrific as I thought it would be.
Did you leave early?
Absolutely.
It was like an award show. You get a medal. You get a medal. You get a medal. That's literally, Mo just said, you get a car, you get a car. Y'all are on the same page.
Princess Diana is here with me, ladies and gentlemen. We are going over the events of last night, the State of the Union address by President Donald J. Trump. James Golden Snerdley, Princess Di is here. Don't go away. Coming right back.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Heckling the president and now you handing out the congressional or awarding the Congressional Medal of Honor to undoubtedly a heroic helicopter pilot and then a fighter pilot, an award show. I'm wondering if the president could have said anything that you'd be okay with.
There are numerous times that I stood up during his speech, and I stood up for each of the individuals whose valor was worthy of the praise that he meted out. But I can tell you, I brought a guest tonight from my district. I brought a guest tonight because I brought a guest tonight from my district.
That was Debbie Wasserman Schultz from Florida. Another one complaining about the award show, Princess Diana. Purple Hearts went to Andrew Wolf and the family of Sarah Beckstrom. They were ambushed in Washington, D.C., members of the National Guard. Sarah Beckstrom, 20 years old, died. Mr. Wolf, Sergeant Andrew Wolf, was so critically injured, nobody thought he would survive except his mother, who prayed and prayed and prayed, and he was there. Not even his doctors thought he would survive. Then, the U.S. goalie for the U.S. hockey team, Olympic team, Connor Halebuck, whose teeth were knocked out, but he kept playing anyway. He got a Medal of Freedom award. The 100-year-old Korean War veteran, Royce Williams, age 100, valor in combat, shot down 4 Soviet MiG-15 in the Korean War, a 35-minute dogfight. He was a stuff of legends, but had never been awarded for it. And then Eric Slover, the chief warrant officer, who was horribly wounded. And the other medal, and what Democrats are calling the award show, went to Coast Guard officer, Petty Officer Second Class Scott Ruscan, who rescued at the Camp Mystic summer camp disaster. Exceptional heroism for his rescues. What do you think about the criticism of all of these heroes, Princess Di?
It's because they can't respond any other way. And Gavin Newsom posted on X just 4 words. Well, that was boring. This is the best the Democrats have to offer, and so they do not deserve to tie the shoes of these heroes.
Well, that was boring. Gavin Newsom. James Golden, Snerdley, Princess Di is here. Princess Di, hang in there. We've got more to discuss. Whatever you do, folks, don't go away. Fastest hour in American media continues. Keep it right here.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
As we ensure that all Americans can profit from a rising stock market, let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information. They stood up for that, I can't believe. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she was here? Doubt
it. Beautiful. Oh, what a moment that was. Princess Diana is with me. Shimon. And we're talking about the State of the Union last night. You know, Princess Diana, on PMS, whatever it is now, that woman, Simone Sanders, was complaining about the hockey players. It's very clear why the president invited them, but it's unclear why the team would allow themselves to be utilized in this particular fashion.
The left hates it when Trump seems to have support in any corner, and they try and stamp it out, which is why, they can't stand when someone platforms him or whatever. But this was, 108 minutes where the main media could not intervene, could not talk over him and then tell you what he said. He had the American people's attention, and he used it in a divisive way. And I say that in the most positive way possible. This whole bit about how we have to have unity and all that. He had an idea, and he said it specifically. One of the great things, this is a quote about the State of the Union address, is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believed. And he used it to show the difference. You've got the Democrat, anti-American, anti-goodness, anti-patriot party, and it was visible. And he wanted deliberately to prove that and show that to the American people, and he succeeded.
Let me play for you one of the moments that, again, I had a moment where I got a little, teary-eyed. I had a few of those moments. Yeah. Actually, those, seeing the members of the military be awarded like that always breaks me. It always does it. It's so moving to me. Yeah. This one was another moment. Cut 3. Carlos, cut 3, please.
Delilah Coleman was only 5 years old in June 2024 when a 18-wheel tractor trailer plowed into her stopped car traveling at 60 miles an hour or more. The driver was an illegal alien let in by Joe Biden and given a commercial driver's license by open borders politicians in California. Doctors said Delilah would never be able to walk or talk, have a good life. She wouldn't even be able to eat again. But against all odds, she is now in the first grade learning to walk. And she's here this evening with her dad, Marcus, a fantastic man. Delilah, please, you are a great inspiration. Please stand up.
And during this time, she planted her kiss on her daddy's cheek. It was just so awesomely beautiful to see this beautiful young girl.
Many, if not most, illegal aliens do not speak English and cannot read even the most basic road signs as to direction, speed, danger, or location. That's why tonight I'm calling on Congress to pass what we will call the Delilah Law, barring any state from granting commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
Again, on that part, Democrats not happy. Care to comment, Princess Di?
It brings me to those 15 words again. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens, and he did not use the cheat words migrants or undocumented aliens, all of the things that they usually do to cover up what really is happening. And that binary choice And the statement of principle, which is a founding principle, the first duty, and he restated that again, that to me is going to be the sentence that makes a huge difference for our country going forward, because it's going to change almost everything.
Now, let us turn to another part of the speech. This is cut 2, please.
For decades before I came along, we had the exact opposite. From trade to health care, from energy to immigration, everything was stolen and rigged in order to drain the wealth out of the productive, hardworking people who make our country great, who make our country run. Under Biden and his corrupt partners in Congress and beyond, it reached a breaking point with the Green New scam, open borders for everyone. They poured in by the millions and millions from prisons, from mental institutions. They were murderers, 11,888 murders. They came into our country. You allowed that to happen. And record-setting inflation that cost the typical family $34,000 in just a speck of time. Now the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word they just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem. They knew their statements were a lie. They knew it. They knew their statements were a dirty, rotten lie. Their policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. We are doing really well. Those prices are plummeting downward.
Now, aside from him calling out, by the way, and then he went on to call, which I loved, to their faces, called them out on Obamacare, told them the Obamacare, they did it. It has done nothing, and he went through the numbers on how insurance companies have profited, the stock, how their stock prices have just been obscene to their faces. And when he says you did it, he's looking directly at them. I don't recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't recall a president, a Republican president, ever looking Democrats straight in the eyes, or whatever they have, and saying, you did this to America. Do you?
No, not only no president, no Republican. And we are living in such a special time under this guy. He is once in history, and he has the courage that has not been seen, especially in the Republican Party, for our lifetime. And to have the courage to do that, knowing that he gets no support from the mainstream media, no support from academia, all of the experts, all of the people who have the credentials, and he does it in their face and boldly. I tell you, I am just grateful to God for this president.
Now, let us go to some of the coverage. Cut 14, CNN's Wolf Blitzer speaking. Well, it'll be apparent who he's speaking to.
CNN reported before that speech that the House Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, advised your caucus, the Democratic members, to either skip the State of the Union address or sit there in silence. Should you have just boycotted the address, and do you think you violated the guidelines set out by your own leader?
No, I think it was really unavoidable. The president talked about protecting Americans, and I just had to remind him that his administration was responsible for killing 2 of my constituents.
In Minneapolis, many members of your Democratic Party criticized their Republican counterparts when they interrupted President Biden's State of the Union address, as a lot of us remember. Do you have any regrets at all about the interaction we played between you and President Trump just last night?
I do not, and I think many people look at that moment when the president says it is our responsibility to protect Americans, and he does not acknowledge the fact that two Americans, two of my constituents, two of our neighbors were killed. And it was important for me to just remind the American people that the president and his administration was responsible for killing two American citizens.
With hindsight...
Well, Princess Diana, you've been reminded now. She has reminded you that two of her constituents have been killed. Look, okay, and what do you think the impact... Look, when he went there on Somalia, I was like, what? He said, I don't have the cut here, I'll have to get it, but he basically said Somali pirates.
Yes, he did. And he used the word plunder. Plunder.
Yep, came in and plundered Minnesota with fraud. And then he went further and said something to the effect of, this is what happens when you bring in a culture of people. And the camera, oh, by the way, there were complaints on social media about the camera person.
Yeah, it made him look bad.
There were complaints that the camera person was devious because the camera person who was handling would find reaction shots from people like this. When the president was saying that, the camera zoomed in on Ilhan Omar. I think she was sitting next to Rashida Tlaib. It was either Tlaib or Jayapal. She was sitting next to one of them, and and Tlaib, and they're both screaming at the president. Screaming. She's losing her cookies when he's talking about this. But
well, interestingly enough, I have to say, the cameramen did what they always do. Reaction shots are part of it. They plan it. It is highly scripted. But before she started screaming, there was a camera shot on her when Trump started talking about her specifically. And there was a moment there. I'm telling you, James, she looked scared. She was shocked. She was just blinking. She didn't expect it. She looked upset. I think she is afraid for her own future because of her illegality or accused illegalities.
Yeah, it could be. I'll tell you what. Okay, Princess, time running out quickly on this fastest hour in American history. Give us, once again, your summary and the impact. Now, usually they get covered for a day and they just go away. Impact of this State of the Union address.
I think this was a body slam of the entire Democrat Party. Trump presented the fork in the road for America. This is a binary choice, American citizens or illegals. And the question he answered is Democrats are for them. The Trump administration is for you, which echoes the most effective ad during 2024. Kamala is for they, them, and President Trump is for you. And that is acknowledged as what really won the election. So they are running the same exact idea. Trump is going to now blow out the midterms, I'm convinced.
Wow. When we talk next, I want to talk to you about the economy, because he's getting flack, of course, in the mainstream press about the economy. He's getting flack, well, not for this entire presentation. They're unhappy with it. So we shall pick up our conversation, Princess Diana, and talk about those good things. But thank you so much for joining us today. What a pleasure. What great analysis, as always. Thank you, Princess Diana.
Thank you, Sir James.
James Golden Snerdley, don't go away.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush.
Now, here's James Golden.
I was there, and it was as horrific as I thought it would be.
Did you leave early?
Absolutely.
It was like an award show. You get a medal. You get a medal. You get a medal. That's literally Mo just said. You get a car. You get a car. Y'all are on the same page.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you. They're crazy.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on this day in 1943, George Harrison was born. Guitarist, vocalist, of course, with the Beatles. He was so much more than that. I saw a biography of him to go through all the things that he was able to accomplish in his life. Would take a long time. But one of the things if you know about George Harrison, you know about or you get a glimpse of his devotion. His devotion to the Almighty, to his Creator. I think the George Harrison documentary, one of the things that his partner, his life mate, was with him at the end and said when he left, she actually saw the light leave his body. It was just amazing. And said he had been preparing for that all his life. We got to go. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, back tomorrow for the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Until then, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.